Did you know that how a man talks about his past relationships can reveal a lot about his current state of mind? A man who frequently talks about his female friends, past encounters, and exes could be described in several ways depending on his intent and the context. Over the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into the psychology behind why some men constantly talk about their past relationships. Let's talk about the braggart. This is the guy who never shies away from boasting about his past relationships. He might casually slip into conversations how many women he's dated, embellish stories about his romantic escapades, or even subtly put down his exes to make himself look good. He might be using these stories as a way to build himself up and project an image of desirability and experience. But here's the thing. True confidence doesn't need constant validation or comparison. A man who is comfortable with himself doesn't need to boast about his past conquests. Now let's talk about the insecure. This is the guy who constantly brings up his past relationships as a way to seek validation. He might fish for compliments about his attractiveness, rehash old stories where he was wronged by an ex, or compare current dates to his amazing ex-girlfriends. This behavior often stems from a place of deep-seated insecurity. By constantly bringing up the past, he's seeking reassurance from others that he's desirable, worthy, and capable of having a fulfilling relationship. However, this constant need for validation can be exhausting for those around him. If you find yourself constantly seeking validation from past relationships, it might be time to explore those insecurities and work towards building a stronger sense of self. Chapter 3. The nostalgic lost in the haze of yesterday. Now let's talk about the nostalgic. This is the guy who constantly reminisces about his past relationships, often with a sense of longing or idealization. He might tell stories about how great things were, reminisce about special moments, or even compare his current partner to his exes in a way that suggests things were better back then. Now, some nostalgia is normal. We all have fond memories of past relationships. However, when someone is constantly dwelling on the past, it can be a sign that they're struggling to move on or find happiness in the present. If you find yourself constantly romanticizing past relationships, it might be a sign that you need to focus on creating a fulfilling present and future. Chapter 4. The name dropper seeking status through association. Now let's talk about the name dropper. This is the guy who casually slips his ex-girlfriend's names into conversations, especially if those women hold a certain social status or are considered out of his league. He might talk about how he dated a model, an influencer, or someone with a successful career, even if the relationship was short-lived or insignificant. This behavior is often a way to elevate his own social standing, hoping to impress others by association. Building genuine connections and focusing on your own accomplishments are far more meaningful than trying to impress others with borrowed status. Chapter 5. The attention seeker, desperate for a spotlight. And finally, let's talk about the attention seeker. This is the guy who uses stories about his exes to draw attention to himself. He might exaggerate details, fabricate dramatic breakups, or even invent entire relationships for the sole purpose of being the center of attention. This behavior often stems from a deep-seated need for validation and a desire to be seen as interesting, desirable, or worthy of sympathy. It's important to recognize that healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and genuine connection, not on manufactured drama or attention-seeking behavior. Decoding the message. What's he really saying? So there you have it. A look at some of the reasons why some men constantly talk about their exes. Remember, these are just a few examples, and every individual is different. It's important to pay attention to the context, the frequency of these stories, and the underlying emotions behind them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful videos.